Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders are quietly developing an intriguing rookie story, and it centers around wide receiver Jaylen Lane, a player who many fans might not have expected to hear much about this early in the season. Lane, entering his first year with the team, has been carving out a niche for himself in a way that goes beyond the usual rookie waiting his turn narrative. Yes, the depth chart may not list him as a starter, but what's happening behind the scenes is what has caught the attention of coaches, teammates, and now fans. Head coach Quinn has praised his ability to take coaching cues and immediately translate them into execution on the field, which is not something that happens often with rookies who are still adjusting to the speed and complexity of the NFL game. That alone has been one of the biggest reasons Lane is being talked about as a possible impact contributor. What stands out most in Lane's journey so far is the way he has handled the details of playing wide receiver, particularly when it comes to routes that require patience and technique. Quinn mentioned how Lane has learned to manipulate defenders, especially in option routes, where timing and leverage matter just as much as speed. In college, especially in up-tempo offenses, receivers can sometimes get away with running routes at full throttle because defenses don't have as much time to press and play tight man-to-man coverage. But in the NFL, that changes instantly. Defenders are stronger, smarter, and much more physical, so you can't just rely on speed. Lane has shown a willingness to slow down, sell his movements, and then explode at the right moment. That subtlety is what transforms an ordinary receiver into someone who can win consistently at this level, and it's a skill that excites Quinn and the rest of the coaching staff. Another major factor in Lane's development is his potential role as a punt returner, something that might define his rookie season. Returning punts isn't just about catching the ball and running. It's about decision-making, fearlessness, and vision. Lane has shown all three in practices, and his explosiveness makes him a natural fit for that role. It's not a position that just anyone can handle, because one mistake can flip the momentum of an entire game. Lane has already displayed the kind of instincts that separate great returners from average ones. Quinn has been open about how Lane's return ability was obvious from the start, but what has really impressed him is how quickly Lane has adapted to the professional nuances of the job. That combination of raw talent and coachability could allow him to become not just a serviceable returner, but potentially one of the most dynamic weapons on special teams this season. The fact that Washington carried only 5 wide receivers on its roster heading into this season is another reason why Lane could see his opportunities expand beyond just special teams. Depth at the wideout position can evaporate quickly with injuries or performance struggles, and Lane's ability to line up in the slot or even outside gives the Commanders flexibility. He may not be asked to carry the load right away, but even a handful of snaps on offense could open the door for bigger contributions down the line. For a rookie, those early reps are invaluable because they provide real in-game experience against NFL defenses. It's one thing to practice, but it's another to face live bullets in meaningful moments. Lane's versatility could be the key that keeps him active on game days, and if he makes the most of those chances, his role will only grow. As for the timing of his debut, it doesn't get much bigger than facing a division rival right out of the gate. Lane will make his NFL debut against the New York Giants this Sunday, a matchup that always brings intensity regardless of records or preseason expectations. Division games have a way of magnifying everything, and if Lane gets a chance to make an impact on special teams or offense, it could immediately endear him to the fan base. Imagine the energy in the stadium if the rookie were to break off a big punt return or haul in a key third down catch. It's the kind of moment that can shape a young player's confidence and accelerate his rise within the team. Lane may be new, but this is the kind of opportunity that can change how quickly he is viewed as an important piece of the puzzle in Washington. What's also worth noting is the respect Lane has already gained from his position coach, Bobby Ingram. Quinn pointed out that the drill work Ingram emphasizes in practice is showing up in Lane's game reps, which means he's absorbing the teaching and applying it. That's a critical trait for rookies because the NFL can overwhelm even the most talented athletes if they don't have the discipline to refine their craft. Lane's ability to translate coaching into execution suggests he has the mindset to thrive long-term. It's one thing to be explosive and fast, but it's another to know how to use those gifts in a controlled, purposeful way. That's where Ingram's guidance has been so important, and it's why Quinn is already talking about Lane as someone who's made impressive strides in just a short period of time. The transition from college to the NFL is rarely smooth, especially for receivers coming from up-tempo systems where the scheme does much of the work. Lane has had to adjust to an environment where every route, every release, and every step is scrutinized by defenses built to stop the very best in the world. Instead of being overwhelmed, he's leaned into the challenge. That kind of mentality is what coaches want to see in their rookies. He's not relying solely on athleticism, but instead embracing the grind of becoming a complete player. That growth mindset might be why Quinn hesitates to call it catching up, preferring instead to frame it as a true developmental journey. For the Commanders, that's exactly the kind of investment that can pay off not just this season, but for years to come as Lane evolves into a more polished and reliable weapon. Fans of the Commanders have been waiting for young talent to emerge and energize the roster, and Lane represents exactly that. Washington has a history of uncovering contributors in unexpected places, and Lane could be the latest to continue that tradition. His skill set gives him multiple paths to make an impact, and his progress in just a few months has already validated the team's decision to bring him in. If he can translate what he's done in practice into game day production, it won't be long before he's no longer viewed as just a depth piece or special teams option, but rather as someone who belongs in the rotation at wide receiver. The Giants game could serve as the first step in that journey, and it will be fascinating to see how he responds when the lights are brightest. For now, the story of Jaylen Lane is one of potential meeting opportunity, a tale as old as the NFL itself, but always captivating when it unfolds in real time. Rookies don't often get the spotlight in their first few games, but Lane's unique situation has positioned him as someone worth watching closely. Every punt he fields, every route he runs, every snap he plays carries the possibility of a breakout moment. That's the beauty of football. Sometimes it's the unheralded rookie who makes the play fans talk about for years. Whether it's as a return specialist, a reliable slot option, or even just a spark plug when the team needs energy, Lane is in the perfect position to make his mark. Washington may have found a hidden gem, and Sunday's game against the Giants could be the first time everyone else realizes it. At the end of the day, this is about more than just one rookie trying to find his way. It's about the Commanders building something under Dan Quinn that emphasizes development, adaptability, and seizing opportunity. Lane embodies all three of those traits, which is why his progress has generated such optimism within the organization. It's still early, and no one is expecting him to instantly become a star, but the signs are promising. For Commanders fans, that should be exciting. This is a team that needs playmakers, especially in big divisional matchups, and Lane's emergence could be a subtle but significant storyline of the season. If he continues on this path, there's no telling how big his role could become. For now, all eyes will be on Sunday, where Jaylen Lane officially steps onto the NFL stage, ready to show what he can do. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. The rumor that spread like wildfire this weekend revolves around a tense and fiery moment on the Washington Commanders sideline, where new head coach Dan Quinn allegedly lost his composure and directed sharp words at rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels. Witnesses close to the bench described the situation as explosive, with Quinn reportedly shouting something that stunned players and staff. Enough of the highlights without wins. That phrase alone carried the weight of frustration that has been simmering within the organization since the season began. While Daniels has brought undeniable electricity to the field, producing jaw-dropping runs, deep throws, and the kind of plays that trend on social media, the harsh reality remains that the Commanders' win column has not matched the excitement. The fanbase, torn between admiration for Daniels' flair and concern for the team's record, suddenly had a new layer of drama to dissect when this sideline eruption made headlines. What makes this rumor so intriguing is how out of character it seemed for Quinn, a coach known for his defensive mind, steady demeanor, and ability to motivate rather than lash out. Those who've worked with him in the past often describe him as composed, focused, and rarely rattled, even in the heat of battle. For Quinn to allegedly snap on Daniels during a nationally televised game indicates just how heavy the pressure has become in Washington. The Commanders are trying to turn the page from years of dysfunction, new ownership, and constant changes in leadership. The fan base was promised a culture shift, one rooted in discipline and consistency, but old habits are proving hard to shake. Quinn's outburst, if true, could be seen as an attempt to reinforce accountability and demand results, especially from the quarterback who has been positioned as the future of the franchise. The clash of styles between coach and rookie is now impossible to ignore. The spotlight on Jayden Daniels has always been intense, given his Heisman pedigree and the hype that surrounded him coming out of college. From the moment he put on the burgundy and gold, he was marketed as the savior of a long-suffering franchise desperate for stability under center. Every throw in practice, every scramble in preseason, and every snap of the regular season has been dissected by analysts and amplified by fans on social media. But as electric as Daniels has been, the harsh truth remains that his highlight reels have not consistently translated into wins. He dazzles with his legs, he improvises with flair, and he makes defenders miss in the open field like few in the league can. Yet the scoreboard often tells a different story, one of close losses, missed opportunities, and frustration that undermines the optimism. For Quinn, patience appears to be wearing thin, and the message was crystal clear. Style points mean nothing without victories. Inside the locker room, whispers suggest the players themselves are divided. Some reportedly love Daniels' energy, believing he represents a new era for the Commanders, one where creativity and unpredictability finally give the offense an identity. Others, however, quietly echo Quinn's frustrations, worried that the obsession with highlight plays overshadows the importance of methodical drives and disciplined execution. Football, after all, is about balance. An explosive run that goes viral on Instagram doesn't erase 3 consecutive 3-and-outs that put pressure on the defense. Veterans on the roster, who've endured years of instability, seem to crave the kind of leadership and efficiency that translates into sustainable success rather than occasional fireworks. The locker room dynamic has become a storyline in itself, as fans wonder whether Quinn's outburst was directed at Daniels alone, or whether it was meant as a message to the entire team that entertainment without execution is simply not enough anymore. For Commanders fans, this drama has added another chapter to what already feels like an endless saga of hope, disappointment, and constant reinvention. They have seen talented players come and go, bold promises fade into irrelevance, and coaching staffs reshuffled again and again. When Daniels was drafted, optimism reached a fever pitch, with many believing that he could break the cycle of mediocrity. His highlights offered flashes of what that future could look like, a future where Washington finally had a quarterback to compete with the league's elite. But the Quinn incident served as a sobering reminder that progress is not measured in flashy runs or viral clips. It is measured in wins and losses. The frustration among the fan base mirrors Quinn's sentiment. They are tired of moral victories, tired of potential, and tired of waiting. They want results, and they want them now, no matter how painful the process might be. Critics in the media have already started debating whether Quinn's approach could backfire. Some argue that scolding a rookie quarterback so publicly risks damaging confidence, especially for a player still adjusting to the speed and complexity of the NFL. Young quarterbacks often need patience, reassurance, and space to grow into the role. Coming down too hard, too soon, could create tension or even resentment, potentially stunting development. Others, however, believe that Quinn's tough love message was exactly what Daniels needed to hear. They point to successful quarterbacks who endured similar challenges early in their careers and credit their resilience to coaches who refuse to accept flash without substance. The truth likely lies somewhere in between, and only time will reveal whether this confrontation becomes a turning point that propels Daniels forward or a wedge that creates lasting friction between quarterback and coach. The stakes could not be higher in Washington's turbulent rebuild. From a narrative perspective, the phrase, "enough of the highlights without wins," has already taken on a life of its own, spreading across talk shows, podcasts, and online forums. Fans are quoting it as a kind of mantra, some in support of Quinn's hard stance, others in defense of Daniels' creativity. Memes are circulating, with clips of Daniels' dazzling runs juxtaposed against the final score graphics of losses, underlining the gap between entertainment and execution. The media frenzy shows just how starved Washington's market is for relevance, and how quickly even a sideline rumor can become the biggest talking point of the week. The Commanders, once known more for their controversies off the field, now find themselves in the spotlight for a drama unfolding right in the middle of the action. That in itself may be progress, but whether it leads to lasting improvement is another question altogether. What cannot be denied is the raw passion that fueled Quinn's supposed eruption. For years, Commanders coaches have been accused of being too passive, too tolerant of mistakes, and too willing to accept mediocrity. By breaking that mold, Quinn may have finally delivered a message that resonates not only with Daniels, but with the entire locker room. Winning in the NFL requires more than highlights. It requires discipline, attention to detail, and consistency from the opening whistle to the final play. Quinn knows this from his own career, having come painfully close to a Super Bowl victory only to see it slip away in historic fashion. That experience no doubt shaped his worldview, and perhaps it explains why he refuses to settle for anything less than total accountability now. If this confrontation sparks a shift in mentality, it might just be remembered as the turning point of the Commanders' season. For Daniels himself, this could be the defining challenge of his rookie campaign. Every quarterback faces adversity, but the manner in which they respond often determines the trajectory of their careers. Will Daniels double down on his improvisational style, trying to prove that his flair can indeed lead to wins? Or will he evolve, finding a balance between the highlights and the fundamentals that Quinn demands? The coming weeks will provide the answer, as Washington faces a brutal stretch of opponents that will test their resilience. The quarterback's ability to adapt under pressure, to process criticism without losing confidence, will reveal whether he truly has the makings of a franchise cornerstone. Fans will be watching closely, hoping to see growth, maturity, and ultimately, results on the scoreboard. Because in the NFL, patience is thin, and opportunities can vanish as quickly as they appear. In the end, this rumor reflects the larger truth about the NFL. It is a league where perception and reality constantly collide. On one hand, Jayden Daniels embodies excitement, youth, and the promise of something new. On the other, Dan Quinn represents structure, discipline, and the demand for immediate success. When those two forces clash, sparks are inevitable, and the Commanders find themselves at the center of that firestorm. Whether this outburst becomes a forgotten footnote or the moment that redefined the team's season depends entirely on what happens next. If Daniels responds with improved play and the Commanders string together victories, Quinn's tough words will be remembered as necessary tough love. If not, the incident will be cited as the beginning of a rift that derailed yet another attempt to rebuild. For now, it remains a rumor, a whisper that has captured the imagination of a fan base desperate for answers. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.